another one of my DVD collection videos where I finally get around to showing you a little bit more of my collection. Right after my new intro, which, until I come up with a better name, is called Bowlestrek's DVD Reviews and Other Stuff. Okay, welcome back. So today, we'll pick up where I left off with Buffy, which actually I think was over a month ago now, with Buffy's spinoff, Angel. First premiered on the WB back in 1999. After the third season of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, they decided to take David Boreanaz, who, if you don't recognize him now, he now plays Agent Booth on Bones, which I also have in my DVD collection. Well, anyway, Season 1, the DVD is actually the only one that comes in 4:3. Everything else is anamorphic widescreen, just because that was the way it was shot. Although, considering the second season was started in 2000, that was actually fairly early on. But it was the X-Files. That was the first show that started shooting in widescreen, which was 1997. And I believe that was followed by ER. But anyways, beside the point. So Season 1. Now, from the beginning of the show to the end, David Boreanaz was actually the only original character left. It was only 3 characters during the first season. And one of them, this guy right here, or the actor, actually died later on. Kind of sad. But anyway, Season 2. I actually found the show improved quite a bit this season, and this is when some of the cast changed. There we go. And of course, you might remember the character of Wesley, which was another crossover from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And of course, Charisma Carpenter played Cordelia Chase, also crossed over to Angel for the first 4 seasons anyway. Season 3, this is actually when I really started watching the show. I didn't watch much of the first 2 seasons. In fact, I didn't watch them at all until they came out on DVD. I picked these up several years ago, I think early 2005. I bought everything except for Season 4, or Season 5, which came out like a month later. Kind of a different feel to this show, too. Actually, it was one of the few shows that I felt when I was watching it actually really felt like it was a movie and shot like a movie, and that was actually definitely the case with Season 4, which is more or less like a season-long opera. They tried to make it as big as possible by this point. It was a very, very, very dark season. Then lightened it up a bit. Season 5. This was after Charisma Carpenter left the show, although she does reappear for 1 episode. But this season we see Spike from Buffy switch over, which actually that on its own makes the season worth watching. Compared to the bleakness of Seasons 3 and 4, this one was a nice refreshing change. Actually, probably in retrospect, is by far my favorite out of the entire Angel series. Now on to my next series, Quantum Leap, starring Scott Bakula. This show premiered in January 1989, which means, wow, it's actually 20 years old. And I remember when this premiered, which I guess kind of identifies my age a little bit. But anyway, starring Scott Bakula, who would later go on to play Captain Archer on Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Although I actually think he's more remembered, or not Deep Space Nine, I should say Star Trek Enterprise. Although I think he is more remembered at this point for Quantum Leap than Star Trek. And at some point I'm actually going to do a video on Enterprise specifically. Mainly because I think it was Voyager that killed the franchise. Enterprise didn't have a chance no matter what it was, no matter what they came up with, but I'm not going to start with that now, as that might actually even be a 2-part video on why the original Star Trek died. At which point I'll also give my take on the new movie, but that's beside the point. So anyway, Season 1, short season, I think there were 12 episodes in this one. It's been a couple years actually since I watched season 1. NBC show. I don't think it had a lot of support in the beginning, but then it took off. Season 2. Now, one beef that I do have with these, the only one that has any special features really whatsoever about the show itself was the first season. For the rest of it, the special features completely disappear. Complete second season, and was the first full season when the show started to take off a little bit. I think it was probably the third and fourth seasons were the show's strongest by far, and that's when I think of Quantum Leap. It's mainly the episodes from these 2 seasons that I remember. And then there was the final one, season 5. Changed a little bit. They invented a new, or they came up with, or they changed the theme music, which actually the theme music from the final season sounds a lot more dated than from the first 4 seasons. And then it was abruptly canceled near the end of the season, so they had to come up with the final episode rather quickly. Which I've never really been happy with the way they ended the show. But in case you haven't seen it, I'm not going to wreck it for you. As that was Quantum Leap, another one of my favorites. This collection has actually been complete for a few years now. Actually, I should say a lot of my DVD collection was complete quite some time ago, because I don't really buy that many anymore just because I don't have that much money. Because whenever I do buy one, you automatically see it go up on this channel. But anyways, for my next collection. And then on to my next, I guess this is more science fiction horror series that I'm covering right now. Babylon 5. How many of y'all remember this show? Well, hopefully you do. It's considered a science fiction classic at this point. These were released on DVD 2002 through 2004. And they're completely out of order. 5th season. Where's my first season? Here's my first season. Probably should have put this in order before I started filming the video. And you could call this show kind of a direct competitor to Star Trek Deep Space Nine. In fact, you can almost see that Deep Space Nine, even as much as I love the show, kind of got a few of its ideas from Babylon 5. Although the Babylon 5, the first movie, premiered around the same time. Actually, I think it was the same month as Deep Space Nine. There were 3 of them. I think the other one might have been... I think it was... I can't remember what it was. At some point, maybe I'll put a little note on there if I remember what it was. Anyway, so the first movie premiered in 2003. Then a year later, they started the series. Now, Babylon 5 itself is something I could do an entirely separate video on, so here I'll just show the DVD releases. And I should also say that these were also anamorphic widescreen, although I think in the case of most of these, they were edited after the fact. And if I'm not correct on that, I'm sure someone will correct me. And if I am corrected on that, I will, of course, put a note on the video for that, too. Now, Season 1. Season 2. Season 3. And I actually kind of like the sort of reflective case, whatever you call those, that they did for those. Season 4. And last but not least, Season 5. And Season 5 was almost tacked on to the show because originally it had been planned for 5 seasons, but when they had started doing Season 4, it did not look like it was going to get to a 5th season, which is why the 5th season is an entirely different storyline, primarily than what had been done previously. But anyways, that's my next DVD update, and of course I have a lot more to go through, and I will get through them all eventually. It just depends on when I have time to do these videos.